Vance has got to prove his manhood, starting with when he moves into the Naval Observatory. That's where the vice president stays, right?
Residence.
Because apparently Joe Biden, when he was VP under Obama, that motherfucker was skinny dipping in that pool like almost every fucking day. So Vance, the first thing
bleach the water.
No, that's not good enough. The first thing Vance has got to do,
drain the pool,
has got to fucking do when he takes over that place to prove his fucking manhood, and he needs to go in there and hire like an army of fucking jackhammer fucking operators and go in there and destroy that fucking pool and rebuild a new one.
Yeah,
demand it. I know I would fucking do that. Flags and banners have graced battlefields for centuries, all the way back to the Roman imperial eagles. Maybe you guys have seen that when you watch those History Channel shows about the Roman Empire when they're fighting battles. The eagle was a symbol of power, strength, courage, and it was known as the king of the birds. So no wonder they chose it as their emblem. During medieval times, the bravest of knights would defend the flag from destruction when on the battlefield. The greatest disgrace to a unit was to lose its colors. They often referred to the flag as simply colors. And to lose it in battle was it was a disgrace. So to lose them to the enemy was really a great dishonor. Even when soldiers during battles had to surrender, even in modern times, had to surrender, the commanders made sure to bury their colors of the flag, never wanting to hand them over to the enemy. And they would then come back later after they would win the war to recover it. Soldiers took a great deal of pride and courage from seeing their battle flags on the field. It strengthened morale. Soldiers would even volunteer to carry the flag, even though it meant not carrying a weapon, and made them the likeliest of targets. And so often they were killed. And if and when they were killed, another soldier would immediately pick it up and raise it. To be the flag bearer on the battlefield was an honor because the flag was viewed in some way as having some immortality. The flag had so much symbolism that some nations would hang flags captured in battles on the walls of their parliament buildings. Something happened in college sports that I find very relevant to this background on battle flags. And but especially to me, it's relevant to the masculinity topic that is so often discussed in this country. It's a hot topic, as you guys know. We talk about it. The weekend after Thanksgiving, there were some very big college football games, and something happened that seemed almost viral. That set off an action that took place in multiple stadiums. It started with the Michigan versus Ohio State game. These are huge rivals, and the game was played on the home field of Ohio State in their stadium. But Michigan, the big underdog, won the game. And when the game ended with Michigan victorious, they decided to disrespect the Buckeyes of Ohio State by running onto the field and planting a huge Michigan flag, had a big M on it, dark blue, big M, planting a huge Michigan flag in the center of Ohio State's field. To rub it in a little bit. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm a sports guy. I love sports. I play sports. I understand what sportsmanship means. I also believe that you should be classy in victory and defeat. Although, if your opponent deserves to be disrespected, I don't have any problem with antagonizing them and rubbing it in a little bit and sticking it to them. But it's best when you. For me, I always think about this. It's best for when you win, act like you expect it. like you've been there before many times. Act as if it's no big deal. When you when you when you score a touchdown, run to the end zone and just toss the ball to the referee like I've been here 1,000 times. Right? In fact, growing up as a kid as a Redskins fan, one of the most famous plays of all was this big white fullback on the team named John Riggins. You ever heard of John Riggins?
Yes.
John Riggins is amazing. John Riggins ran a 4th and 2 play, best play of the game, one of the most memorable football runs in history of the NFL. And he runs into the end zone. This guy was a farmer. I mean, just big, old, corn-fed white guy. And he just tossed the ball. I mean, it's a Super Bowl. Most of those guys jump up and down. They do dances. They have all kinds of staged, kind of celebrations they have now. He just flipped it. If you ever get a chance, watch that.
Oh, 41!
Here comes the diesel. Here comes the diesel.
Riggins. He's going to go all the way. Unless Blackwood can catch him, and he can't. The announcement now, it's official. The most valuable player of Super Bowl 17, John Riggins.
But yeah, when you score a goal, when you have a knockout in boxing, just act like you've done it 100 times, 1,000 times. So when the flag was planted, the Ohio State team took issue with it, attacking the Michigan players who were planting the flag, tearing it away and tossing it away, stepping on it. I think they tried planting the flag twice, and both times it was challenged by the Ohio State players. Some of them, a lot of them. And then a massive brawl ensued, pandemonium. It was almost like a gang turf war. I mean, it was crazy. Now the sheeple men all over the media and across sports have had the same reaction to what happened, all saying, "Oh my God, how did this happen? How can they possibly do this and disgrace college football? Their universities, right? Their families and their team. This is a bad look and bad for the sport. It's classless. These players and teams should be embarrassed. It's a black mark on the sport."
Someone probably just needs to grab that flag, or else this is going to continue to get nasty. Ugly scene. Incredibly ugly scene for a beautiful rivalry.
And I say that's fucking ridiculous. My feelings on this is that it's good for the sport. I don't want to see, and it's good for men in general. I don't want to see my favorite team laughing and hugging, smooching with the enemy, with the opponents. Just like I don't like to see politicians who say they represent us yucking it up with the enemy side. Yeah. Like I always say when they reach across the aisle, both sides reach across the aisle, and they start getting along. It means one thing: you're getting fucked.
That's right.
But it's especially but watching this melee happen for me was especially good to see, because for me it was like, these young men are finally acting like men. They're not letting the media or a bunch of pussies in charge brainwash them into inaction. When their manhood is challenged. And college football, if you ever watch it, it's the thing that makes it different than pro football is it's tribal. All college sports, but especially college football. They don't even have anything like this in college in Europe. Europe doesn't really have college sports. the way we have it here. They watch it over here and they think, wow, this is a cultural thing. And you know, I will say first that if you don't want to be punked in your home stadium, then what do? Win the fucking game.
That's right.
Win the fucking game, right? But if you lose, then yes, at least stand your ground, not as players, but as fucking men. As fucking men. And do not let the enemy spit in your face, stomp on your neck on the way out after beating you, right? You still have a shot at some sort of preserving your fucking dignity, right? So Michigan players tested Ohio State players, and Ohio State players showed up. They showed up. I mean, you guys got to see it. It's fucking amazing. And I'm watching this thing, and I'm hearing the announcers just kvetch about it, you know, and I'm just fucking loving it. And it was the same feeling that I had when I watched what happened on J6. But the Michigan players also showed up when Ohio State players tried capturing and destroying their flag that they were trying to plant. And I feel like they showed the nation and young boys who are fans and watching what is expected of an American man and American men when challenged to defend what is fucking theirs, right? Including their dignity, the university, all it represents, the student body who supports them. This is almost like training for when they're responsible for protecting their wives, their kids, their homes, their entire families, and all that their family name represents. All that is theirs. The lesson, like I preached during the lockdowns, it's similar. Never allow another man to subjugate you, or it will damage your self-respect, your dignity. It will haunt your soul for the rest of your life. So these players, as far as I'm concerned, when I'm watching this, they passed the fucking man test. And they should and will forever, I believe, remember it, have no regrets. For me, when I watched it, I thought those who will have the regrets are their teammates who didn't have their fucking backs. That ran to the locker room and said, stay away, I'm not getting involved, right? Those who didn't join them in battle. And just like the business owners who bent the fucking knee during the lockdowns, they may still have their businesses because they behaved, but trust me, they have to look themselves in the mirror every fucking day. So I say to young men out there, when your opponents wants to disrespect your family crest, a family crest is an emblem, it's like a flag, right? It's like the eagle for the Romans, or plant their flag in your fucking backyard, make them think twice. Fucking Michigan and Ohio State did that. And for that, I want to congratulate them.
Both sides.
Yeah, both sides.
You're proud of both of them.
I'm proud of both of them, absolutely. And you will be too when you see it. So when I see that, it fires me up. It makes me think of the sort of battles that we fight every day. You had one yesterday. That was interesting.
The one thing that I wish I saw that. I didn't see it this morning, but that story gave me a lot of. It gives me a lot of hope for the future of this country. If college men, football players, young men,
18 to 23,
are doing these kinds of things, I'm hopeful for the future. So that's kind of my comment about it.
Well, I mean, they've got to be validated, though. And Tony Roman's validation goes a long way, but the institutions which have been compromised, they need to validate them. They need to say, we appreciate your passion for your team, your school.
Yeah.
We appreciate that. And we're glad, you didn't go too far, but keep it up. And if they said something like that, then maybe we would have the right direction to go in. But what it reminds me of is that old adage, it's not whether you win or lose, but how you play the game. And it sounds like these guys are playing the game to win. They're playing like winners. They were all fighting with fervor and passion.
Yeah, and it's how you play the game after the game.
Exactly.
But there's a reason why that famous picture of the Marines planting the flag in Iwo Jima.
Yeah.
There's a reason why they planted the fucking flag.
Yeah.
planting the flag. There's a big purpose behind planting the fucking flag.
Yeah.
So you have two choices. You can beat them on the battlefield first, so they don't plant it, right? But in sports, especially, you win some, you lose some. But you have to decide as a man if you're going to let them rub it in at the end.
Yeah.
I've even seen now in sports where I see these clips where these little kids are playing football like peewee, maybe like 8, 9, 10, 12, 11 years old. And you play sports when you as a kid, when you're done, the teams walk past each other and it's good game, right? Yeah. Right? You've seen that?
Yeah.
Now they're teaching these kids to I think they wrap up like a towel. When at the pool they would like wet a towel and they would snap it at you, right?
Yeah.
So they're getting these towels. I'm not sure exactly what they are, and they kind of fill them at the end with like a ball or something, so it's kind of heavy. Or
They just wet the tip.
and then they if the team walking past the other team has won, they walk past each player and they whip them in the ass, like we just spanked your ass. And the kids walking by and their coaches are allowing this shit.
Yeah.
Are you fucking kidding me? I pick up a bat and walk over to the other fucking coach and smash him upside the fucking head.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they're teaching these kids, that it's okay to be bitch slapped.
Yeah.
So these college players, to see what they did, made me fucking proud. And we want to see more of that. But you made a good point.
I'd be interested to see what the schools are going to do.
That's what I was going to say.
It's
So now there's all this debate. Should we outlaw this now? Well, you can't bring your flag onto the fucking field. Shut the fuck up. And even if they try doing it, you defy and you do it anyway. Listen, they also have this thing where one team that's a heavy underdog beats the favorite. And if they win and it's a big deal to the smaller school, they have this thing where it's called rushing the field, where all the students come onto the field. Right? It's a big scene. But this is American tradition.
Absolutely.
They're trying to ruin that too. I saw one where the school had never beaten the team, number one team before. They took them down. It was like smaller school. I think it was Vanderbilt took down Alabama. It was like huge.
Oh yeah. That's big.
And they were kids, and watching these kids have fun warmed my heart. Like I saw them just having the time of their lives. Right? They'll remember it forever. You get one chance to be fucking young, and that's it. Yeah. And they actually ripped out the goalposts out of the ground and paraded them. Like if you were looking from space, it looked like ants carrying a breadcrumb. Like they were carrying the fucking goalposts out of the stadium down Main Street through town. Like all these people like carrying the fucking thing. And I thought that is so badass.
They said at my college I went to, they did that like every game. So I
tore it down?
Yeah. I think they had to raise the tuition to pay for the freaking goalposts or something.
Which school? That's Boston College, right?
Boston College.
Yeah.
Before the Doug Flutie years.
Before the Doug Flutie, yeah. But I mean, we saw yesterday. So I sent the Bulldog on a mission yesterday,
nice.
And we saw the lack of masculinity in the video that he shared with us. This person they came in contact with.
That was very glaring on that.
It was what?
That poor guy. It was very apparent, very glaring. That poor guy.
Poor guy. Yeah, no. The background, he got it. He got what he had coming. The background was Tony had need of a storage space.
Yeah.
It was in my name. I filled the place with stuff.
Yeah, we had some certain stuff we had to put in there.
And it was being charged to the company card, basically, right? Not my card, but my name. So we had lost use of this space. We'd gotten what we needed out of it. There was some stuff we left behind because they didn't have a well-run storage space facility. So there were some problems with what was going on, like, just leakage and exposure to the elements. So we got our stuff out, and this all was precipitated by the fact that I'd gone there one day, maybe 6 months ago, to go get some crates of legal work. And the guy is yelling, hey. And I didn't know it, but I guess they were doing some asphalt construction like down at the end. But the gate was wide open. It was like 7, 8 a.m. I just went in. And he's like, you can't be here. We're closed. I was like, oh, I didn't know. I'm sorry. I didn't see any signs. I'm just going to grab something real quick and I'll be out. And he's like, oh, yeah? All right, then. You know what? You're evicted. You're red flagged. He starts going off on me, right? So I was like, oh, okay. So then I just said, I'll pick the most important things out. I loaded the car up. I loaded stuff on the Beverly Hillbillies. You know, I had everything strapped down. And I got out of there. And but sure enough, they continued to charge. And they had some like fraud, like
So when I found out about it, I keep seeing these fucking charges. I
Yeah,
called
what
Kim.
are they?
I said,
Yeah.
Kim, you gotta go have a talk with these guys. So Kim heads down there.
I did go down there.
Yesterday, right?
I did. I went. You know what?
Was it yesterday?
It was yesterday. I was
Yeah.
at the gym, and I was doing my thing, and I just got finished running 4 miles, and then like I'm all, you know, and then I got a call from somebody saying, hey, Tony's upset about this and that, and then Tony's texting me, and I said, okay. I quickly changed. I put on a coat, a blazer. I like to wear a blazer because I can put a phone right there and have it film. So I did that, you know, even though I was still like all workout mode, but I figured I'll use it. So I go down there and I walk in there filming, talking to the guy, and I'm explaining to him like I'm like in this tone where I'm talking right now. I'm like, you know, you and I talked a few months ago, and you said you understood that we were done with the unit. And I asked you if you needed me to do anything. You said, no, you can just forfeit the unit. I said, don't get the locks. He said, no, leave the locks. We'll do the process and we'll just auction off whatever's left behind. I thought we were good. I thought it was good.
This guy's like a square-looking guy.
Yeah.
Probably 30, early 30s, white guy. Next to him is a woman, probably in her 30s too. Two young people managing the place.
Yeah, I mean, they acted a lot younger than their age. But,
Yeah.
you know, I just thought I was talking to them straight up. I said, I thought we had an agreement. And you and I talked, and then at some point they were like, oh, you know what? I think because they realized that the things I was pointing out was actually making them look like they'd committed fraud. So they started trying to turn the tables on me and say, you know, you're getting a little aggressive. You're getting a little aggressive with us. I was like, what are you talking about? You're raising your voice? And I said, what do you mean raising my voice? This is the way I talk.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, no. You know, yeah, I think you need to leave. I said, you want me to leave? And they're like, you know, just being really mamby-pamby. And so, you know, I decided to turn it back around them. On them, I said, you know what? How about a little cultural sensitivity? I'm an Italian. This is the way I talk. You need to learn that and be cool with that.
I put them on the defense immediately.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, two can play at that game. You want to play his game.
That's right.
And so we're just going back and forth, and you know, they're acting like they're going to call the cops, and the guy says, well, you know, you can get this form, and then I can take your name. You want to take your name off it, which is what we wanted.
Yeah.
Take your name off, and so they stopped charging. And so I said, okay, so I'll go to my car and get my wallet, and we'll do that. And so he's like, 911, I need you to come right away. And I'm like, what? And I don't walk out the door. I go, what are you doing? And he's like, you're just getting way too loud, way too aggressive. And
We feel threatened or
I
whatever he
feel
said.
threatened.
But the best, I think kind of laughed like
I
that.
know.
He laughed in his face. But the best part, well, the worst part for this guy, and just to see it, is that here he is wilting, you know, like a little bitch in front of another woman.
Yeah.
And it's like he was basically subjugating himself, just saying those things.
Yeah.
But the best part was when he made the call, you could hear the dispatcher at police station ask him, is he white, Hispanic, or black? And the guy was so scared of Kim, because Kim told him, I'm Italian. The guy didn't know how to answer. So when they asked him that question, white, black, or Hispanic, the guy replied, he's Italian. Like, who does that? Nobody, you know.
You don't hear that often.
You never hear that. That was awesome.
That explains it.
That was.
You're about to kick me out of the office like you kicked me out before.
No.
So if you kick me out of the office, how am I supposed
You're
to?
being very aggressive.
I'm being very aggressive.
Yes.
No, I'm not. I'm asking very
You're
important
raising your
questions.
voice. Have a civil conversation.
I'm Italian. How about some cultural sensitivity?
Wow.
How about some cultural sensitivity? I'm of Italian descent. I'm professional as well. I'm just speaking with emotion. I'm going to go get my driver's license, and I will show that to you so that we can get something going that you guys will more concretely acknowledge. And anything else we got to acknowledge, we can sort that out down the road.
Hi, I need assistance here at my property.
With who?
What's the emergency?
I have someone in my office who's getting aggressive, and I don't know what to say.
All right, and now I'm going to stay.
600 West Dyer Road.
Who is this person?
He is a tenant here, and he's refusing to leave my office, refusing to stop raising his voice.
That's not true.
What business is this?
It's mini use storage. male Italian. Hi, we have an emergency here.
Emergency.
We
Oh
have
my
an
God.
aggressive tenant that will not leave the property. We've already called 911.
I'm staying because
Yes,
I've
we
got nothing
dialed
to
911. We asked him to get out of our office and he will not leave.
You did? You want me out? You're trespassing me from the property or what?
He's trying to use these words, but just don't talk to him.
Well, just answer clearly. Do you want me out? Are you trespassing me? Because that's binding in law. You guys are all over the place. I need a clear, definitive answer. Are you trespassing me from the property? Melody.
Is there any way you can help me?
You need a lot of help, guy. Well, I mean, I'm glad he actually gave me my props and adequately identified me so they knew.
Yeah.
I mean, they could put on their Italian gear when they came to visit me, the cops.
But to watch a young man like that not have the balls just to meet the challenge head on and deal with it and resolve it, especially with a woman, his coworker watching, maybe he'd want to press her or set an example. No, instead, I mean, she, in the video from what I could see, she had more courage than he did.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, I mean, Tony, they had this huge desk.
Yeah. They're
And
behind it.
I'm standing like 10 or 15 feet away from them.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in their waiting room area. They can't have.
You're not even up against. I watched the video. You weren't even up against the counter at the time. You're sitting back, and then the guy he pulls the ripcord too soon, calls 911.
It was all over the place.
Yeah.
I stood back because I wanted to get a good image, because I wanted to capture like him, admitting, we did discuss you forfeiting the unit months ago, so that I can say, then why are you charging still? Why did you charge an additional $2,000 if we discussed this months ago? And so, I'm basically getting out of him certain legal
and they
admissions.
wanted him to leave, and he's like, okay, well, I'm gonna go out and get my driver's license out of the car. But when the guy starts threatening to call the police, and he calls the police, and they tell him the police are on the way, he's like, no, I'm not going to leave because the police are coming. I'm not going to run out the door.
Yeah, I got no reason to run. I'm going to stay.
Yeah, and I'm going to stay. You see the guy was like, fuck, I don't get rid of this guy.
What to do.
Then the cops show up, and it was resolved.
Wait, because here's the thing. If somebody tells you, I'm calling the police, and you legitimately have done nothing wrong, then you stay.
Yeah.
Because if you
There's
leave,
no
You don't
reason.
look guilty.
if you leave, it's an indicator of guilt.
Yeah.
Like you got something to hide. You're afraid. I'm not afraid. I didn't do anything wrong. So I said, well, now I'm going to stay. And they didn't know what to do with that.
Too bad you didn't have an Italian flag with you. You came back in and planted your flag. stuck it right in their office.
Awesome. That'd be so awesome. So.
Yeah.
I mean, it was fun. It was a little bit fun, just kind of like talking to them and seeing how it was unfolding. And then the cops were like looking at them like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And they're like, but you have a contract with this guy, right? And he's like, well, yeah, he's a tenant. And they're like, well, then this is a civil matter. We can't do anything.
Maybe we'll show some of that, because we got some clips. But, speaking about the flag, the J6ers need to fucking plant their fucking flag.
Yeah.
And these people that Trump is trying to surround himself with, and we're going to call out some of them, they need to plant their flag. I was hearing about Joe Biden. You guys, obviously everybody's heard about it, Joe Biden pardoning his son. What I don't like is that Trump and Trump hasn't said himself, but people around Trump and a lot of people that support Trump, especially people in the media that support Trump, are saying things like, well, now that Biden is pardoning his son, now Trump, and I've even got text messages from people who support Trump, now Trump definitely needs to pardon all the J6ers, let them all in jail. Fuck that. That's not how it works.
Yeah.
When somebody says that to Trump directly, his reply needs to be, I don't give a fuck what Joe Biden does.
Yeah.
I don't
Exactly.
I'm not, he's not dictating what's going to fucking happen.
Exactly.
I was going to let all those J6ers out fucking anyway, whether he pardoned his son. I don't give a fuck what he does with his son. That's on him. I know what I'm going to fucking do. Right?
Yeah.
And,
we're not acting in response to them. We're not reactionary. They should be reacting to us, not us saying, well, if they did that, then it's okay for us to do this.
Yeah.
No. We don't let them set the tone.
They don't set the
We set the tone.
Yeah.
Well, I don't like the idea. I mean, I want all those J6ers to be done with what they're going through, and the ones that are in jail need to come out. But a pardon to me kind of maybe implies that they were guilty and I'm letting them off. these guys weren't guilty. So if there's a way to, if there's a way
Dismiss. It's got to be
dismiss it,
That's a good
or,
point,
you know
because
what I mean? It's like,
Hunter's guilty as sin.
Yeah.
There's pictures of him lounging on a couch with little like 12-year-old girls like pampering him. Like he's surrounded by little girls.
Yeah.
And they're like, one's got her feet on his stomach, and one's like, massaging his temples or something. Like, this guy was into a lot of weird stuff, right? Taking pictures of his crack and his gun, and smoking crack, all this stuff he was doing. And so he's in need of a pardon.
Yeah.
Because he did something wrong, and he needs to be saying, "Pardon me, please. Excuse me, I did wrong."
I'm a scumbag.
We didn't. Yeah, he's a scum. We didn't do anything wrong. Why do we need to be like, "Pardon me, I did wrong. Like, mea culpa, my fault, my bad." No fucking
We
way.
got to tell them when we let him out, we might pardon you.
Exactly.
If you're lucky, if you're fucking lucky, we'll think about it.
Yes.
We're not pardoning anybody. We're just give us the fucking keys and unlock the
Let 'em
fucking jail
out.
cells.
Yeah.
And say goodbye.
DOJ says
And then-
dropping all the charges, and we're going to revisit the convictions, and we're going to show that we're going to find where we actually, our department acted out of turn, and we're going to petition the court to overturn those convictions.
That's right.
exactly.
No pardons, overturn convictions.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
And then compensate them for all the crap that they had to go through.
Yeah, well, one of the ways that and we'll get to the
Real
horrible,
quick.
Go ahead.
If they compensate me for what I went through, Tony,
Yeah.
I'm going to break you off some. I am. You know why, Tony? Because I wouldn't be afloat right now if it wasn't for you.
It's all in the same pile, man.
All right.
So it's all whatever
But I'm
happens.
just saying.
Whatever happens between us is all ours.
I'm saying I got a juicy chunk for you, Tony.
Oh my god.
I mean, maybe even 50%.
Well, I'm just gonna use that cash to build an army anyway to go back into the battle again.
I trust you with the funds.
Yeah, I appreciate it. But one of the ways, speaking of the bad picks that Trump has selected, we'll get to them, and they're fucking terrible. And I'm extremely disappointed. We've talked about some of them already in the past, but new ones, a new round. We haven't been around the last week because of the Thanksgiving break. But one flag that's been planted is the flag with the face of Kash Patel on it.
Yes.
Because I like Kash Patel.
I like him too.
A lot. And in fact, we called for him to be his FBI director in number 16.
Yeah.
When we did number 16, which is
Weeks ago.
the one before last. Yeah, this is 18. So I like him a lot. He is saying he wants to not only go after the deep staters in government, he wants to go after the people in the media that have emboldened them and supported them
And
empowered them and colluded with them.
Yeah.
All those people. Yeah. So that's what we need. And
Because that's RICO. That's conspiracy. If people in the media are putting out a false narrative in order to pervert the wheels of justice from actually grinding correctly, like if they're covering for them and putting out misinformation in order to throw people off the trail of this organized crime, that's a RICO act.
Oh, yeah.
That right there.
yeah, and
Well, Biden is talking about, well, not Biden hasn't said anything, but they're all, these people around him are all saying they want to come up with these pardons for all these people surrounding. Like I heard that they're talking about Adam Schiff gets a pardon, Liz Cheney, and a couple of the other people I think that were on that January 6th committee. So, and I think there was a lot of probably illegalities involved in that whole.
well, Kash Patel is a good pick when John Bolton hates him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good point.
John Bolton fucking hates him.
Well, John Bolton probably be probably has a few things that he needs to
Skeletons
be
in the
worried
closet?
about. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or at least he's fighting for people to do.
So he picked this one guy. The first guy the first guy in the latest round of picks I was extremely angry about was this the guy that's going to be the head of the Treasury. Hear about him? Scott Bassett.
Yeah.
You know who that is?
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
He's married to a guy, right?
Oh my God.
LGBTQ, big time.
Good.
They fucking live in a pink house.
Yeah.
They
Just fucking great.
They adopted a couple kids, and
Yeah.
and he was George Soros' right-hand man at his
He
investment
managed
fund.
one of his big charity funds, I
Yep.
think.
So he spent most of his career at Soros Capital Management as their chief investment officer. Think about that.
Yeah.
And that's who's going to run the treasury in this country.
Yeah.
I mean, because George Soros sunk economies with his currency
England.
manipulation.
Oh, totally.
And so
Yeah.
if you're going to have someone connected to that, you're letting the fox guard the henhouse. You are. I mean, I don't know what game Trump's playing.
I don't get it, man.
Keep your enemies close. You know, keep your friends close, your enemies closer.
Yeah, but he's
maybe.
bringing in a guy that partnered with a man, worked for a man
They tried to
who
fund
was
his
his
country.
mentor. Go ahead.
They tried to not only fund
Fund his demise.
Trump's demise,
The country's
but
demise.
also funded the BLM, the Antifa, the La Razas, the Lawyers Guild. You know, hundreds.
Whose sole ambition
Of organizations.
is to turn this country into
tore us.
a rotting cesspool.
Exactly.
That's what that man wants to do.
But also came after us.
yeah, came after. Yep.
Me personally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You Google my name and you Google Antifa or whatever.
Yeah.
You see that they
all
say,
there.
they say stuff about me.
Yeah.
They're mad about things I was saying on my megaphone in San Diego or in Portland or whatever. So it's personal.
It's personal.
And
That's a good
you
way
know
to put
what? And it's personal for all of us because they didn't just come after.
It's a slap in the face when you see that.
Well, Soros is trying to upend
that really the-
our whole system of government. He's a socialist, and he's trying to he's really trying to destroy America the way it was founded. And I think the Democrats love him because they're all on the same page as
Well, he
far
funds
as that
them.
goes. Yeah, he funds them all.
He funds Democrats
But-
and neocons.
So this is the best. I mean, you can say like I don't know what Trump's strategy is, but this is really the best person you can find. Come on, man.
I mean, Tony, it's you talk about flags. It's almost like Trump's letting Soros plant his flag in
Great.
Trump's administration.
I like the way you put that. Yeah.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah.
And all I can say, and you know, they call it a cope. They call it a cope. You try to figure out some possibility of, you know, away from the dirty truth. And I hope it's not the dirty truth. But my only cope is I'm thinking, well, maybe Trump's doing a false flag. Maybe he's just leading them on.
You know, at times I heard about the false flag during the lockdowns too.
Sounds like he's trying to plant the rainbow flag in the
the
Treasury
whole
Department.
false flag thing is what you just said. What do you call it? Cope?
A cope. So like a cope is like when
How to
something.
deal with something?
How do you deal with something that doesn't seem right? And you're like, well, you try to make excuses.
Excuse. I like that
It's the
better.
excuses.
That's exactly what I think false flag is used for most of the time. But you know,
An alternative reason why this could be.
Yeah, they all got these conspiracy ideas, but you know about the person he chose for Surgeon General, right?
No, I don't.
Jeanette Nashwat. I think she was from.
God bless you.
Yeah.
Are you sneezing in
You
here? or
couldn't
what?
pick somebody with an easier name.
I thought you sneezed.
So
Shut.
So this bitch promoted the trend, that TikTok trend supposedly that was going around during the lockdowns, featuring doctors and nurses,
Twerking.
performing these annoying dance routines.
What?
Yeah, you guys remember that? While telling people to mask up,
And take the
shelter in place, and it was like they thought
Oh,
it was
yeah.
their cute way of fucking
So that's her. That's
brainwashing.
That's
Oh,
her fault.
Well, she was totally promoting that, and she
Not is
praised
it dumb?
this bitch she praised Mark Zuckerberg for censoring and banning so-called misinformation. Right, so that's what she called it: so-called misinformation about vaccines on Facebook and Instagram.
And
What?
who's Mark Zuckerberg to decide what misinformation is?
Well, she said that vaccines save lives, and she was so excited. She thanked and commended Facebook and Zuckerberg for taking action.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so either Trump is completely fallen and compromised and sold us out.
She wanted all social media platforms to follow Zuckerberg's example and also censor. She wanted others to follow him to censor vaccine skeptics.
So here's the thing, Donald Trump.
Now she's running.
I know.
She's a Surgeon General.
Yeah.
But,
If Donald Trump continues this course once in office and he doesn't do a 180, then with the amount of fervor I went to war for you, Donald Trump, I will go to war against you, Donald Trump.
I love that.
I will.
I'm so glad to hear you say that. And more people need to say that.
Because at this point, Trump is an idea. And if you aren't living up to who you were, then you're the past. You're old news. We got to trump all this bullshit, all this status quo, all of this stuff they did to us. We got to trump it with liberty. You're an American. Act like it. With balls, with whatever you want to call it. We got to trump that, like Trump was trumping them back in 2016. You know, he's calling them out. He's putting them down. He's laughing at them. He's just confounding them. That's what I want. You know,
To me, it really doesn't make any sense because, you know, Trump is all best buddies now with Elon Musk. Elon Musk bought Twitter, you know, and turned it into a very left-wing, censor everything, conservative to a pretty, I can't say it's really conservative oriented, but it's more neutral for sure. Centrist, yeah. And then he started that Truth Social, and that's supposed to be wide open, no censorship or whatever. So,
is it?
Well, it's supposed to be. I don't know.
Well, Truth Social was started a long time ago before Musk got a hold of Twitter.
Yeah, but right. That's my point, though. He's, you know.
Oh, because it's his competition?
No. It's both of those platforms now are more centrist, right-leaning.
Not right-leaning. They're not right-leaning. That's what they want you to think.
Truth Social is supposed to be. It's run by Devin Nunes. He's amazing. I thought really good.
I mean, I get a lot of hard right-wing takes on X, or whatever they want to call it. I do.
Yeah, but I think, but
X is way better than it was. I mean,
because you can find only because they allow it. But think about that. Is that what the standard is now? Now because they allow
us.
Yeah, that's true.
It's conservative.
All right,
but he also chose a guy named Chad Chronister, who was a Florida sheriff. Chose him to head the DEA.
Yeah, there was
and he was a massive lockdown enforcer. And
he had to drop
only
out,
because
though, right?
he got some pushback. People heard about it early on. He got some pushback.
Backed off?
That the guy backed off. Trump didn't fire him, but he backed off. But either Trump is fucking brain dead, either he really doesn't believe the things he says at his core, like I have often said, or he sees somebody on TV, because he's picking a lot of people off television shows, as you know, in the media, Fox. Maybe he just likes the way they present. Maybe he likes the way they present now, and he hasn't heard about their views in the past. You know, people try to whitewash everything now. Yeah. Stolen valor, we talked about that. Maybe he's not digging enough, and he just sees it and thinks, she sounds smart. He's always impressed by pedigrees. They have great education. They're successful. I like that person. They're good looking. I want them.
But then that means he's not vetting him real hard.
Or that's what I'm going to get to. Or he's trusting people, a circle of people, says your job is to vet, right? And maybe he's not giving them a checklist, like an Inquisition checklist that we would compile and give to him and say, use this. He's not. He hasn't given them his own, and or he's got people around him that are lying to him.
I'm sure that's part of it.
That just want to bring these people in and infect the whole fucking administration.
If we were vetting this whole thing for Trump, there'd only be 3 people that he could have in his administration.
Maybe less.
The 3 of us.
Oh, the three of us. Yeah, 3 of us. Perfect. Yeah, but
gotta be hardcore.
Yeah, but like you've talked about before, Kim. You've talked about a lot the Overton window. Why don't you explain that so people know? A lot of people don't know what that is.
So the Overton window, it's been a concept that they've been using in the dissident right for a good, half dozen years or more, maybe 6 to 8 years, where they talk about the range of acceptable ideas. So maybe 20 years ago, it was like unheard of. Maybe 20, 25 years ago, it was unheard of to even say, gay marriage could be a thing. Same-sex marriage could be a thing. And then, in the last 5 years, it'd be unacceptable to say same-sex marriage would be a thing we wouldn't have. Same thing with the wall. 20 years ago, if you said, we need to build a wall on the southern border, nobody would, bat an eye.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But then something about 8 years ago, if you said, we want to build a wall, they'd start saying, you're a racist Nazi KKK, or, they would just go over the top with their attacks and say, you can't even bring that up. Building a wall is a racist comment, or it's unacceptable, or it's it's an act of violence, or whatever. They made it so that we had to like worry about what we were saying because they were able to move the goalposts.
That's right.
Or the Overton window further to the left. So the range of acceptable ideas for discussion was now leaving stuff that we would think would be just common sense to be beyond the limit, beyond the pale,
It's
not even allowed.
Outside the range of the window, the whole window.
Outside the range of the window.
And it's like them pulling what's to the right into the center, right? Saying that is now the right. That Fox is now conservative.
Yeah.
And if you watch Fox, you're a radical right winger, right? When we all know that's not the case.
Yeah.
But they made people to believe that, right?
Well, yeah, like Proud Boys. They would always characterize Proud Boys
As the hard asses,
as
yeah.
white supremacist right wing extremists.
Yeah.
And it was like, but their new president is an Afro-Cuban, so black.
Mm-hmm.
And the Proud Boys, if you knew them like I knew them, they're libertarians. They would talk about drug dealing should be legal because we're libertarians, no laws. We're actually kind of liberal, but we just don't want the government taking our money. So that's where we're conservative. But that's what they would say. You would see them supporting LGBT. You would see them for a right-wing extremist, they're like, we accept any religion. You can be Muslim, you can be Buddhist, you can be this, you can be that. So that's not really like exclusive. They really didn't stand for much or anything except for liberty and liberalism and libertarianism. And like a lot of them were doing drugs. People don't know this like I know this, but a lot of them were doing drugs. Some were selling drugs. Some of them were like boasting about prostitutes. And that's not very conservative. And I don't think it's very right wing. But the average normie thought they were, and the average leftist thought they were just beyond the pale.
So don't you think that Joe Rogan is a great tool of the left to move the Overton window?
He is.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? I mean, now apparently, he's holding the banner of conservative podcasters. I mean, are you fucking kidding me?
He smokes
Not even
weed every
close.
day.
Not even close.
He smokes weed every day.
Yep.
He's totally pro-LGBT, transgender affirming, right?
Oh yeah.
And-
Abortion.
Pro-abortion.
Yep.
And what? He wouldn't even support a Republican. He's never voted Republican.
Yeah. And I'll give you an example.
And he's a right-wing extremist.
They'll put out he's never supported conservative ever. They'll put out a big bold headline saying something like Joe Rogan's brutal 5-word explanation for why liberal media is hemorrhaging audiences. Brutal 5-word explanation. So you're thinking, wow, what could it possibly be, right? And then you read it and he says his answer is because no one trusts them anymore.
Duh.
Wow.
No shit, Sherlock.
No shit. I haven't heard that in a long time. Yeah, exactly. But this is the point. And that guy Portnoy, they keep doing the same thing with him. Dave fucking Portnoy.
This is
know
like
more about
it's
him than I
Captain
do.
Obvious, Tony.
Captain, yeah.
They just say the fucking in a fucking
What do you call
child.
them? Slowpokes.
Slowpokes.
They're fucking late to the party. What?
Yes.
Half the people didn't trust him to begin with from forever. So the other half, the lib half, is that they're starting to lose trust in their own people.
Because their hopes got dashed.
Yeah.
They were told that Kamala's going to win and put to bed this whole fascist USA, whatever narrative they're trying to say about us.
Yeah.
And then when Trump won, they realized the polls were lying to them, the media was lying to them, and they got it. Are you saying that name again? What was it? Kashette?
Nashawat.
Nashwat.
Go ahead.
What's her name?
Go ahead, Kim.
That's
What do you
it.
think?
I mean, like, even like the program people that are just like following like the television programming, the narrative that like they're like NPCs. They're just like they just download the information straight from like the mainstream media with no questions. Even they are starting to say, "Hey, does not compute. This is not adding up." So even an idiot can figure it out.
Yeah, it's like the answer that you would give to a comment like that, when he says, "Oh, it's because nobody trusts." No, you dumb fuck. It's because people know that they're anti-American, right? They're anti-American, tiny tyrants in training, scumbags that need to be annihilated.
Yeah.
That's why they don't fucking listen to. That's why they don't watch them, not because they don't trust them anymore. You're just late to the party. You don't understand it because you've been reading and watching all those fucking media outlets
and
your whole
believing
life,
it- and believing
because
it all.
because you're a brainwashed fucking leftist yourself,
You
and that's why you voted for Bernie Sanders and Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama and everybody else.
Tony,
You dumb.
he's smarter than that. He's just lying. He's smarter
Lying
than that.
about what?
He knows when he got sick with COVID, he took ivermectin, and CNN, they put an image of him and they made his skin yellow. And they tried to make him look like he was still sick. And they tried to smear him and say he's taking a horse dewormer, horse medication. And they just did all this sneaky, underhanded bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And this was like 3 years ago, right? 3 or 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And he knows what they did. And he wants to keep his cushy job. He has to not challenge certain things if he wants to not rock the boat. He knows.
Yeah, but he was part of it.
He's a sellout. It's for the money.
He was part of that. He was part of that movement, that left wing movement, his whole life.
Yeah.
He's a self-identified progressive.
But that's the industry. You gotta talk the talk in that industry. You gotta be like, oh,
He was in Hollywood. I mean,
yeah.
he was a Hollywood guy.
Yeah.
That's who he was.
He's a comedian. He was like all that. So that's like they gotta say things. Go along to get along.
Yeah, another example of weakness and not planting your flag the right way, really burying it into the fucking ground, sticking it in there hard. Thanks, man. Yeah, we'll cut that for a second.
Or you can keep it in. You can keep it in.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Another example.
Everyone is propping up this new university called University of Austin. Did you hear about that?
No.
This new anti-woke, they call it anti-woke university.
In Austin?
University of Austin, right?
Austin,
Like
Texas?
Austin, Texas?
Austin, Texas, right? Yeah.
Well, that's a liberal stronghold.
It's
yeah. So, of course, our side, we don't,
Is that an
nobody
online
really-
university? It's not a real school, is it?
It's supposed to be a real university, and apparently they're getting some funding. But of course, our side, when we fund things, we do it. It's like we barely
Penny pinching.
empty our pockets, right?
Yeah.
Throw chump change at it. So they're operating at like a old schoolhouse, something I don't fucking know, like a medical building. They're not doing it right. They're not architecting and building a university, right? So they call it anti-woke, and they're going to push back against woke ideology.
I smell stolen valor. I'm already smelling it, Tony.
Well,
I'm smelling some stolen
It's the
valor.
way they speak that drives me fucking nuts, They're going to shun diversity, equity, and inclusion policies for what some now call within the institution MEI. Well, that's a mistake already. You're already using acronyms. Don't be pussies.
Well, what does MEI stand for?
It stands for merit, excellence, and intelligence.
Huh.
So we're going for merit, excellence, and intelligence, and it's their way, they say, of shaking up higher education.
Yeah.
Sounds like tough talk, right?
Well, you know what it sounds like again, Tony?
Yeah.
It sounds like letting them dictate and being reactionary.
Yeah. They're not.
They got their DEI, so we got our MEI.
and we're not taking it into We're not going to take any of that into consideration in admission. So basically, what they're saying now is that when we do admissions, we're not going to take any of that DEI stuff into consideration.
Oh,
that's their definition of being anti-woke.
Yeah.
They said the primary thing we're interested in is the mind.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. We have them on the front lines. Aren't we lucky?
Yeah.
God, we're so fortunate.
That sounds
No, you know what the rules need? The rules need to fucking be, if you have any woke, you tell applicants, if you have any woke tendencies and any history of woke support or activities, don't even fucking think about applying here or teaching here. You will first go through an inquisition. You will go through an inquisition so we can make sure of that.
Yeah.
You're not going to sneak in here. And anyone caught trying to infiltrate or infect our student body will be in prison in a re-education camp for a fucking year.
That's perfect.
That's what we're going to fucking do to you. That's anti-woke. That's what anti-woke
Or
is.
just don't even consider these people and get the people that have never been considered to come.
Yeah.
Like some farmer that like is out in the middle of Iowa that never experienced these fucking bullshit.
Yeah. Don't even think. And our curriculum is not going to be what they just said, interested in the mind. Our curriculum is going to be anti-communist, anti-socialist, anti-leftist, anti-Hollywood. It's going to be patriotic with an America first, pro-Western culture agenda. And you know what else? We're going to fucking speak English only.
And
that's it.
I think you're onto something with a gender.
So-
How about men only?
Well,
A gender. You said it.
Yeah.
And a gender.
Men only. Yeah, men only
and
diversity.
a specific gender that we allow. Men only.
This sounds like Hillsdale College.
And you have to
me.
pass the masculinity test. What?
Sounds like Hillsdale College to me already.
Well, I mean, is it one gender oriented?
Yeah, but Hillsdale College won't even call itself anti-woke. They won't.
You know, they could have one gender oriented, and they could have a kitchen off to the side, and the female admissions can go to the kitchen.
Yeah,
they could work the kitchen.
What, the cooking school?
Yeah, cooking and home housekeeping, that kind of stuff. Am I going too hard?
Probably going too hard.
No, I like it. I like it. There's a lot of women who would love to cook.
Yeah.
For a bunch of men.
You know, there's so many women that have been disillusioned.
Yeah.
They feel like
absolutely.
they got fed a false, bogus narrative, and they sold themselves out to this idea that they got to go into the corporate world.
That's right.
They
You're
go to
100%
college,
right.
and then at some point in their 30s, they're like, I'm basically, because I don't want to be a slave to my husband, I'm a slave to some boss in a cubicle that doesn't care about me.
That's right.
At least if they were like slaving themselves away for their husband and their kids, they would be doing it for someone who loves them.
So young men, when you pick the woman that you want to spend the rest of your life with, choose wisely. Because if you don't, you'll end up like the guy in Texas who married this fucking woman who is now in California with his son. Did you hear about this?
Luna, the boy named Luna?
I don't know what the kid's name is, but the son is going to get
transitioned,
chemically castrated.
Yeah.
And the fucking judge is got named Mark Juhas. He needs to get his balls chopped off first.
Yeah.
But that fucker is siding with her.
Yeah.
And he can't do shit about. I mean, he can't. I never say can't do. He can.
Yeah.
But they're telling him he can't.
Yeah.
But he fucking can.
Well, you know,
always a way.
There's always a way.
There's always a fucking way.
There's a way in Manhattan the other day. There's always a way.
Yeah.
Well,
look
you know, I'm gonna say this. I've been following that story.
In Manhattan.
I've been following that story. She tried to rename him Luna as a little boy, and I've been following it for 6 years. And
that's been going on for 6 years. This case,
the fight, everything since he was little.
That's too long.
And this is what I know. This is the
that should have ended fast.
because I remember in 2018 following that story.
Yeah.
And here's what I know about it. So he's like a traditional. I think he's an Orthodox Christian. He married this woman.
You mean the husband? Yeah.
The husband, and she's a doctor, and they were married, and she had, because she did her career first and everything. She didn't have any more eggs, like a lot of women. They find they wait to their 30s, whatever.
Yeah.
So the eggs are donor eggs that were inseminated with his sperm.
Interesting.
So biologically, the boy that she's transitioning is his son. Biologically, and she carried. I don't know if she actually. They may have got a surrogate to carry the baby, or she did. But the baby, the children, the offspring are not genetically linked to her.
Interesting.
And so.
That makes it even worse for him.
She's really,
it's really his kid.
She's really getting back at him. Yeah. So she's got custody of his biological son.
His son.
His biological son who shares no biological DNA with her.
Wow.
And he's been fighting
this.
Makes
it even worse.
And they wouldn't even let him talk because it started in Texas. They wouldn't even let him talk about it to the media, gag ordering him.
Fucked up.
And Tony, like, I got to admit, like, I'm sure there were, I'm not saying myself, but I'm sure there are plenty of men that were like, you know what? Somebody ought to take a trip to Texas and like put a stop to this for the good of all of America.
Yeah.
I mean, really, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, really, like seriously.
I know what you're saying.
This is a bad thing, and this will bring a curse upon the land. If we let this stuff happen. That's opening the door.
Sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
It's a sad story, and if you look at it from stepping back and look at it, the one who's nuts is the mother. She's crazy.
Yeah.
She started transitioning this kid at 2 years old before there's any signs of,
Well, what's even worse is there's videos where the boy, would be with his dad, and he would say, like, Mommy tells me this. Mommy tells me to say that. Mommy tells me to say I'm a girl. Mommy tells me to say all this stuff. Like that. But he'd say, but I don't want to. I'm a boy. So when he was with his dad, he'd say, I'm a boy. And then when he's with his mom, he's getting like, she's
pecking him.
She's
There need to be armies around this country protecting children.
Yeah.
Children are not protected enough. Parents are fucking insane. I mean, look, this story alone tells you that, like you were saying, I know what you're saying about what has to happen to her. I get it.
I mean, she needs to be gone.
I know what you're saying. Yeah. Goodbye.
Done.
No one's going to miss her. And that's why this last couple of times we were sitting here, I was so upset about how Trump's spokesman or the guy that's going to spearhead this whole anti-illegal immigration effort, Tom Homan, keeps talking. He keeps talking about, even now, like, going to find these illegal immigrant children. We're going to track them all down, these poor kids. Meanwhile, you have these towns like East Cleveland where it's an epidemic over there. They're missing children. They're vanishing everywhere because it's a town that's not heavily policed. It's low income. You got drug addicts everywhere. You got illegal immigrants moving in. And kids are missing everywhere.
How come we never really hear about this? I mean, I don't see news reports about these missing children.
Yeah, and the majority of them
because they're in on it.
It's like when you bring this up, I have a hard time even believing it because you don't.
Yeah, and the majority of this town, East Cleveland, the majority of those kids missing are black kids, and you see the pictures and it breaks your fucking heart. And then you think about how 30% of the missing children in this country are sexually trafficked. 30%. They found that 30% of them are trafficked.
Yeah,
that's a huge number.
Well, Tony, I mean, they say, I think the figure is 800,000 a year go missing. 800,000
up to 800,000.
Up to 800,000. So you're kind of getting close to 1 million.
Yep.
That
350 to 800,000 every year.
People can't wrap their minds around that, but
that's an insane number.
That's like more Americans died in World War I and World War II put together, right? That's about like if it was 76,000 Americans died or 68,000 Americans died in Vietnam, right? Now you multiply 68,000 times 3 to 4 to 5 to 7.
But that deserves the attention of the military. Send out SEAL Team 6 to find these kids, whatever it fucking takes.
Yeah.
I mean, they swore an oath
FBI.
to uphold the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic.
Domestic.
So if there's domestic issues,
most of our enemies are domestic. They're all here.
Yeah.
They're all fucking here. Start here.
Yeah.
Start fucking here. We talked about. That's why we don't want to talk about all this shit.
A lot of them get elected to office too.
What's that?
A lot of them these enemies you're talking about are elected officials.
Yeah. And a lot of them were, and I saw this with my own eyes. They were in our MAGA movement. There'd be people that would come after me on behalf of somebody else that came after me. And then I would like do some research, some digging, and I'd find out the one that came after me first was like a Jill Stein voter. And I'd find on his Facebook page that he was bashing Trump and he was for Bernie Sanders. And I'm like, really? So this guy is coming after me at a MAGA rally, and then this guy is coming after me for pointing it out. Like, they're in cahoots. The guy in the high heels is coming after me to defend the guy that's a Jill Stein voter at a MAGA rally, and I'm the one that's like not a real Trump supporter.
Yeah.
Like, but the Jill Stein voter is,
because our fucking side still doesn't understand the standard of fighting.
Standard.
Did you hear about that fucking guy, that another pussy, man, Dinesh D'Souza? You hear about that? His show.
I believe he's a pussy.
What was it called? 10,000. What was it?
2,000 mules.
2,000 fucking mules. Did you hear about that?
What happened?
He's admitting it was all BS.
I didn't hear that part.
Yeah. So basically, he's now saying all his information's faulty, and accusing the left and the who the fuck was it for illegal activity, finding that he was basically claiming in his film that they were illegally dropping off ballots, right, for family members
Harvesting
that they
ballots,
turned
yeah.
around.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Well, stuff in those drop boxes, the ballot drop boxes. So what I saw the movie, and it seemed like they had
you saw.
a lot.
Did you like it?
Huh?
Did you like
I thought
it?
it was good.
Yeah.
So he was right, but he was wrong, and I'll tell you why. I remember that episode. So his thing was he was talking about basically small potatoes, because in the scheme of things, when you're rigging an election, these little penny ante little things are almost like a distraction. People going out and ballot harvesting and dropping 4 or 5 ballots. That's not where they get you. The get you thing is that graph where they show the Trump voting going up, and they show the VINO one below it, and then at 3 a.m. it goes vertical and jumps straight up and then surpasses Trump. That comes around from the computers. That's the hack. That's where they, you could talk about thousands, 2,000 mules, and they each had 6 votes. What are we talking, 18,000? That's nothing. 18,000 is nothing.
Yeah.
If they're fucking stealing 18 million votes, if they're flipping 18 million votes, you're talking about 18 million as opposed to 18,000.
But all that matters in the end, who surrendered, and he surrendered.
Because-
Salem Media surrendered. The publishers surrendered.
Yeah.
Everyone surrendered because what happened was the fucking left doesn't fuck around. They turned around and they filed a defamation lawsuit on him, and they went fucking hard to the point where they knew that they were going to lose their ass. So what did they do? They bent
surrendered.
over and they fucking said, "We apologize. We're fucking sorry." Throw more blood in the water to the enemies, and that's why their side fucking wins.
That's right.
Well, he was a weak link anyways. Like, the guy just listening to him talk.
Well,
He's like,
It's the same thing with that Mike Lindell. It sounds like the same issue. He's getting sued for $1 billion for defamation against that Dominion voting system. So, I don't know. What are you going to do?
Well, what you do is you say, "Fuck off. I don't care. You know what? I will fight you to the fucking death." You never cave and say, "I'm sorry. I apologize." You had too many people believing you that went to see your fucking movie, that you encouraged, right? That you empowered, that you made people feel inspired. And then you know what a letdown that fucking is when somebody does that. Even with the Redskins, they keep talking about this Redskin name keeps coming up again.
I heard they're going to bring it back, right?
They're going to bring back the Redskins. They're going to bring back the logo. But see, our side still has not fucking learned. You hear them talk about it, and our side is excited saying, and if you read between the fucking lines and you read it carefully, it says, "Bringing back the logo. Bringing back the logo."
The logo, not the name.
They're cutting a deal.
Compromise.
With Washington D.C. that if you want the stadium in D.C., you got to bring the logo back. We're talking about what about the fucking name?
Yeah.
And exactly. They're compromised.
Why don't they bring it back as hard as
It's
they
all or nothing. All of it.
They yanked it away pretty abruptly.
We want it
Why
all.
don't they bring it back
I think
abruptly?
All of it.
I've said this before. They should compromise on the name. It should be the Redskins. Get rid of Washington. Just the Redskins. That
You
would
want
be
just
good.
And then they should do this
Redskins.
at the press conference.
Yeah. Bringing spears and
Yeah.
red paint and the whole fucking
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Headdress.
Yeah, because you know what they are? It's a proud name.
Why not?
Of course it
Proud
is.
fucking name. It's a warrior name.
You know what? When I was a kid, I dressed up like a wild Indian. Is that a wrong saying?
Wait. Do you remember as kids? What would you do with fucking cap guns? Cowboys and Indians.
Cowboys and Indians.
Did you guys do that?
Of course.
I fucking did it.
I did
I was
too.
the Indian sometimes. I was a cowboy. I didn't care. It was fun either way.
Because it was fun being a wild Indian.
It was fucking cool. Yeah. Wild.
That's the word. That's the term I remember. A wild Indian.
Wild, yeah.
Because you don't want to be a tame Indian.
Yeah, it's funny as shit.
When you went to the storage unit play, were you dressed up like an Indian? Is that why they were?
No, the guy was describing me. He's like, he's wearing a gray blazer,
Yeah.
And you know what I like though?
He didn't say you had a
is this
feather
like,
sticking out?
how old is he? He's like, I don't really know. And they
40s.
said-
That was cool. I heard that.
They said, is he 20s, 30s, 40s?
I think 40s.
And he's, or 40s or 50s. He said, I'd say he's about 40.
Yeah, that was good. And
That's it.
then you got
You told me.
the satisfaction when the cops showed up and asked you how old you were, and you got to say.
They didn't even
50.
ask me. I just told him.
Oh, you told them? Okay, but you got to say it, which was good. All right, that was a good fuck you back to them.
Well, you know
like,
what?
thank you very much.
I started talking about Judge Wapner. I said, because this is one of the things they got triggered by, right? They got mad because I said, so what are your names? And they said, well, why are you asking our names? Or something like they're like, worried. And I said, I mean, if you're doing nothing wrong, you got nothing to hide. Give me your name. You know my name. And they wouldn't give me their name. So they said, well, what do you need our name for? I said, well, maybe, if I'm going to do some legal action, I might subpoena you. And they're like, oh, that's a threat.
Oh, yeah, that's another threat.
That's another threat.
There
Your
we
threat.
go.
I said, how's that a threat? Legal action. So I told the cops, I said, they thought that was a threat. But I grew up watching the People's Court with Judge Wapner, and they had this motto. You don't take the law in your own hands. You take them to court.
That's right.
I said, so I didn't think that was anything wrong.
That's a name.
A threat.
That's a name.
And then both the cops said,
Who's Judge Wapner?
They said they said that was before their time.
You know who that is, right?
No,
Remember him?
I know.
Judge
They said that was before their time.
That's funny as shit.
And then the one's like, the one cop said, I'm 18.
With a name like Judge Wapner, it should have been Italian.
I know.
What do you think? God,
Wop, wop, bang, bang. Who likes Italians?
Hey, and you had said earlier, if you got nothing to hide, I wanted to ask you, Doug, what's going on with Pete Hefseth?
They're like, they're trying to take him down. They're trying to do.
I like that guy.
I do too. They're trying to do a Matt Gaetz on him, but he needs to hold firm. And I don't know. Trump seems like he's sending out mixed signals on him.
Yeah.
I read an article where not Trump himself, but people behind him are saying they're looking at maybe DeSantis to replace him. But no, they should stay with the guy.
Well, meanwhile, it's okay to have a guy like RFK be your head of human health, HHS, right?
Youth and human health.
Yeah, health and human
services.
Yeah. How can he hold that job when he is a radical promoter of abortion?
Yeah, I don't
Think
know.
about that.
It's
health and human services, right?
Yeah.
But he was all in.
Aren't the babies human?
Yeah, he was fucking all in. A guy who admittedly used heroin, LSD, cocaine. I mean, he's your guy?
He's a Kennedy. You know my theory on the Kennedys.
You say it all the time.
Never support him.
And you're from New
Never
England, you
trust him.
fucking know.
Yeah.
But
Hefseth, man, he needs to keep fighting. He needs to keep fighting. There's stuff coming. It's a lot of anonymous stuff, which is it's a typical left-wing stuff they do. They throw out these made-up anonymous things. The press runs with it, and then he's always on the defensive. So he's got to.
But I mean, Trump. But Trump should know how that feels because he went through all that.
I know. And that's why it's weird.
How is he not coaching these guys up? Like, do what I fucking did.
Yeah. And why are the people around him putting out other names before?
Yeah, they're putting out who is it?
DeSantis as an alternative, but that's way too early for that.
They're signaling weakness.
Well, yeah, that's the whole thing.
They're signaling weakness.
Who is this in Trump's orbit that's signaling the weakness? Is it Trump?
Well, who's that woman he had around? That woman that was like, we need to appeal to Enrique and Jamal.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
And forget about the Karens. Or
Yeah.
Jamal.
Yeah.
You remember that, right? You don't remember that?
Who names their kid Jamal?
I don't know.
Well, it's a certain demographic.
Okay.
Yeah, it's when we did our.
That votes 98% Democrat.
Yeah. Anyway, who else is next? Who does he appoint next? Is there any more cabinet positions left? Or is he pretty much done?
There's a bunch. I haven't really been paying attention to them. I think the big ones are kind of out there. So a lot of the ones that come up now are smaller.
And
I can't pay attention to the soap opera, Tony.
It's fucking horrible because they're even saying now that he was promising that he was going to ban all transgender from the military, and then they put a statement right away. Not so fast, not so fast. Yeah. You don't even hear them even talking about illegal aliens anymore. They're talking about criminal aliens. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
They make it very clear that we're gonna root out the criminal aliens. Even Stephen Miller said it the other night. I noticed. I picked up on it.
Yeah.
He's going
criminal aliens. Well, they all are, right?
But Tony,
criminal aliens.
You remember.
They've already lowered the standard.
It's the same from the Revolutionary War.
Mm-hmm.
Don't fire till you see the whites of their eyes.
Yeah.
So maybe they're just hold, like in Braveheart. Hold now.
Yeah.
And if that's what they're doing, I'm telling you right now, I'll say here right now.
I'm not confident in that, but I hope you're right.
I mean, it's a code.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say this. If Holman delivers, if Holman actually comes out strong, like a wartime general,
Be legendary.
if he does that, then hands down, he will have my vote
Yep.
for the next president of the United States.
Oh, I agree.
Over.
I agree.
Over what's I can't
I
remember the
agree.
guy's name. Vance. Like, yeah, I mean, we need a strong guy. We need a strong man. And if he comes out as strong as he talks, and he does and he delivers, then that's who I want to be the president. But he's got to deliver. If it's all talk is cheap. If he delivers, and that's the only thing I'm holding.
He's already
on
got
to.
the appearance and the demeanor of a president that I would
for
want
sure.
to have.
So you're
in
thinking
command.
that the strategy now is to kind of back off on some of these hard line positions until he can get these people in. You know, he gets inauguration day comes and goes. He gets his people in place, and then they go hard. Is that what you're saying?
That's what he's saying.
That's what. Well,
That's
you
what
know,
you're saying?
Trump is New York.
That's what he's hoping for.
Trump is New York, right? And how do they play it in New York? They don't talk, right? They don't talk. They don't telegraph their moves, right? So, God willing, Trump hasn't lost his New York edge. Because if he has that edge on him where he knows how to play it, you know, maybe he's playing weak, maybe he's playing possum, you know, could be playing dead. I hope, because it seems like he's dead. But if he's acting like all, you know, rope-a-doping, rope-a-dope, right? Was that a Muhammad Ali thing?
Against George Foreman, yeah.
Rope-a-dope. If he's rope-a-doping them, just paying weak. You know, I watched some of these MMA fights where some guy will get hit and he'll be like, and he'll clutch his side.
And the guy relaxes.
The guy comes in for the kill. And then he just, bam.
Yeah,
takes
surprise
it
him with a shot. Yeah.
And if Trump's going to do that, because, you know, fight.
Yeah.
If he's going to do that, then it would be amazing. And it would be like, it'd invigorate me in believing that he is still our guy. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, you know, and then when you talk about Vance
I was
is
going to say I didn't hear anything from him lately.
well, Vance he's kind of vanished, but Vance has got to prove his manhood. You know, starting with when he moves into the Naval Observatory. That's where the vice president stays, right?
residence.
Because apparently Joe Biden, when he was VP under Obama, that motherfucker was skinny dipping in that pool like almost every fucking day. So Vance, the
He's
first
to
thing
bleach the water.
no, that's not good
No,
enough. The first thing Vance has got to do
Drain the pool.
has got to fucking do when he takes over that place to prove his fucking manhood, and he needs to go in there and hire like an army of fucking jackhammer fucking operators and go in there and destroy that fucking pool and rebuild a new one.
Yeah.
Demand it. I know I would fucking do
He's
that.
not going to do that.
Well, he fucking should do that.
See,
you know
like-
how badass that would be?
Okay, so like they're lining
That's the kind of shit that impresses me.
they're lining Vance up
When I
to
see
be,
stuff like that.
What is it, 2028?
Nah, he can't.
But they're lining him up. But I'm saying
Can't be the guy.
Holman or Vance, right? Holman or
Oh,
Vance.
come on.
You think Holman ever wore makeup?
Fuck no. Or like a headdress.
Do you
or whatever
think
the fuck.
Holman ever
dressed
in drag?
Indian garb. Yeah.
You think
Dressed in drag.
You think Holman ever dressed in drag?
Yeah.
I don't
Do you think
think
he's
so.
vegan? Do you think he went vegan to
I don't
please
think
his
he went
wife?
vegan. No,
Yeah.
I don't think he did that.
But, you know, there's another guy that went fucking hard that I really, really liked. I liked hearing about. A federal judge denied a request to dismiss a gun charge against an illegal immigrant in Ohio who had been in the U.S. for more than 15 years, rejecting the illegal alien's argument that he had the right to bear arms. So the illegal alien was charged this year with and indicted for possession of a firearm by an alien unlawfully in the U.S. Any other judge? Oh, you get all the rights you fucking want. Yeah. Oh, yeah, anything you want.
What
This
state?
guy, this fucking judge, Ohio, this judge said he denied the motion to dismiss the charge, writing in his opinion that disarming unlawful immigrants like this illegal alien who have not sworn allegiance to the United States comports with the nation's history and tradition of firearm regulations. And he said the swearing of an oath of allegiance occurs through the naturalization process, not through his asylum application or his years of just simply living in the United States.
Yeah.
That's the kind
That's
of
a guy.
standard we need to fucking
Otherwise,
set.
they're just an invader.
That's
right?
it.
He's an
Yeah,
invader
he is
with a
an
weapon.
invader. That's what.
Right?
That's how he sees it.
He's
And
an
I
enemy combatant.
That's
He invaded our border.
Yep.
and he has a gun.
That's
but
kind of
the-
shit gives me
but-
hope.
But this judge is making a point that U.S. citizens are entitled to the right, Second Amendment right, to bear arms, not just anybody. So
Yeah, our constitutional rights for our citizens, and not
right.
we need to
But
stop.
only our country's stupid enough to argue every time in the court of law and in the Supreme Court that the minute you cross over under our soil,
You get constitutional
you
rights.
get all How the fuck does that make any sense?
that makes no sense. Makes no sense at all.
This is the kind of shit that makes me feel murderous inside. Makes me feel just, yeah.
I mean, they got one shot these next 4 years to clean it up. If they don't clean it up,
No, yeah.
if they don't clean
This
it up,
is the best chance I've ever seen. This is
The only chance, last chance.
The momentum I see this time is better
Yeah.
than I saw as a kid that I spoke about 1980 with Reagan. It's better. This is even fucking better because people weren't even as aware back then. People were just like, the economy's bad. People weren't feeling great. This time, people with the internet, with podcasts, with fucking all the information available to them, accessible, they have been self-corrected on their, right? Just by consuming all this information. And I think a lot of people wanted this fucking change for more reasons than just the economy and feeling like there's a malaise, like they always talk about.
Yeah.
And people are fired up for this change and want it badly. And I think that, like you just said, he's fucking right. This is your chance. This is your fucking chance.
Yeah.
Once in a fucking 500 years, this is your fucking chance.
So the
Do
only
it now.
go hard or no home.
Yeah.
The only silver lining to Biden stealing the election from Trump is that the general population of the United States got to see firsthand what it's really like to be a socialist, and it raised the awareness, and now they're ready to say, no, we don't want this. So Trump's got an opportunity to take advantage of this time, and he better make the best of it.
Or on the contrary, and I'm going to be a negative person now. The dirty film around the tub is maybe it got so bad under Biden, people will be willing to put up with more bullshit than they would have before. They'll be happy. Like, at least we're not full-blown communists.
Well, just a little, right?
Yeah, we're better than Biden.
The Overton Window
Yeah.
shifted again.
We still got guns
Yeah.
being
that's it.
taken by whatever that woman is, the DOJ he wants, and we still got this and we still got that. But, at least it's not as bad as it was with Biden. Like, at least the economy's a little better.
It's a little better. Everything's a little better.
It's got to be.
We got to watch that.
It's a new normal, but it's not as bad as it was.
Because that's that. There's a proverbial slow boiling frog
Yeah.
where you put the frog
Yes,
in,
yes.
and you don't just turn the heat on right
Yeah,
away.
you do it slowly.
It'll jump out.
They do it slowly.
You do it slowly, and so I mean, if that's what's happening, if Trump's getting worn down, we're getting worn down. Everybody's losing the fight. Then that's it. We're done.
Yeah. We're not getting worn down.
I'm not.
No.
And by the way, good.
We got a month and a half before inauguration, so nothing's, this is all speculation,
God
all
willing.
talk. We have to see what happens January
It just-
21st.
Well,
I want to
the thing-
see what happens January 21st. How many executive orders get written up? He says he's writing them up now. How many get signed?
But you know what? I get fucking pissed when I see guys on Thanksgiving be invited to
Trump,
dinner at Mar-a-Lago that were
Marxists.
think about what? Think about
a lot of them. Are you talking about who you?
No, I'm talking about fucking the guy who ran Canada.
Trudeau.
So here you
Lago.
have people in this country that lost businesses, that were thrown in prison, that were locked down, that were denied the rights to see their families dying, family members dying.
Yeah.
You had tragedy everywhere because of tyranny, right?
Yeah.
And you bring in the king of tyranny, the guy in Canada.
Yeah.
What's his name?
Lido.
Justin Trudeau.
What is it?
Lido. Justin Lido.
Lido or Castro. Because we all know
we
he's
know
Castro's
he looks
kid.
just like
No
Castro.
fucking doubt.
Yeah.
But he invites him to dinner at Mar-a-Lago, and they have pictures of him sitting at his table.
I mean, I just heard.
smiling.
I heard the spin.
I know what you're going to say. Go ahead.
I heard the spin was that he came to kiss the ring.
I heard
and
too.
beg no tariffs on Canada. You'll wreck our economy.
Okay, well, you know what? Make him want it a little bit more and say, fuck off. Because you know what? If you say fuck off it's going to scare him even fucking more.
Yeah.
We don't want you here. Let him beg a little more. First time, he walks right the fuck in. And there was somebody else, too,
that
who
was
was
bizarre.
Zuckerberg's another one.
Yeah.
Zuckerberg, come on in, man. Oh, yeah, pal around with us. That worries me a lot because I know I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
You know, he did,
I would torture those
he
motherfuckers.
did that with Mitt Romney, though, the first time around. After the 2016 election. In 2017, I remember this because Trump invited Romney to the White House.
Yeah.
And they had a little meeting, and then it concluded, and then Romney left, disgruntled and not happy because I think Trump just brought him in to, like, you know, say, you're going to be on board, but I'm not giving you anything, kind of thing,
Yeah.
right?
He wanted like Secretary of State or
But,
some big
but my
job.
point is, he could have done it in private. I just think it's an insult to all the people in Canada and all the people in America who suffered during the lockdowns to let that guy even eat your fucking food.
Yeah.
To walk through that fucking door. He shouldn't be let into this country. He should have been blocked at the fucking border.
Yeah, because the word I heard was Trump, and it's kind of a troll, but
51st state.
It's true, yeah. Well, then Canada could become the 51st state, and you could be its governor. You don't get him to be a governor.
could've
Even
said
that
in the
doesn't
speech.
make any
He could've
sense. The guy's such a bad prime minister. Why would you want to
Make him a
Well,
governor
I mean,
of
he
the
could have
state.
said, why would you give him any role at all?
Yeah.
Why would you give Canada a vote and already given us another blue state?
But he could have made that statement in a speech. Trump could have given a speech and said that. I mean, he'd have to fucking invite the guy over.
Or he could have said unconditional surrender.
But I don't. Yeah, I like that. I
Unconditional
always love that
surrender.
phrase. But I don't. But
You're going to be occupied now, Canada.
Yeah.
We're going to teach you how to be an American.
Yeah.
I mean, because really, think about it. If Canada joined us, they would be another blue state.
What would have made me happy is when Trudeau or fucking Mini Castro walked in to Mar-a-Lago. Trump somehow ordered his arrest.
Yes.
Ordered his fucking arrest. Yeah. Imagine that. And then he gave a speech on behalf of the Canadian people. I arrested the tyrant.
Yeah.
Can you fucking imagine that?
Well, he'd have to have that meeting after the election in order to make it stick.
Yeah, he could do it. Now, who's going to fucking challenge him? Who's going to fucking challenge? But you know, I also don't like. I mean, I know
his own Republicans would challenge him.
Yeah, that's the problem.
That's what they would do.
He's sitting there. I don't know. There's to me, it feels like there's too much celebrating with too many fucking leeches.
Yeah.
Not the real celebrating.
Do you notice?
Too much
They're cracking too much lobster. They're eating too many big fucking shrimp. Drinking a little too much champagne. It's like, what are you doing?
Right.
Maybe they're trying to hide their cover up their guilt and shame because they're selling stuff.
I'm not liking it. I don't like seeing all
bad
that.
Trying to unify with your enemy.
It's like gluttony. You know what I mean? It's a little too fucking much for me. Just fucking hunker down, disappear for a while. Be shadowy about it, you know, and then come out strong, guns blazing. Yeah. That's what I want to see.
We're gonna know in 6 weeks.
Yeah,
I hope.
So, before we go, we talked about planting flags early on, and I don't want to say his name because he's a very private man. Yeah. We won't say his name on the show, but our friend, the Medal of Honor recipient, he has a park, and we went there to visit, and we noticed that his beautiful park had a monument, but it didn't have a flagpole flying a beautiful American flag that he fought for and was willing to give his life up for and sacrificed a big part of his life for it. So we went to the city and we petitioned him and said, look, we need to put a flagpole there for this man. And we challenged them, and they came through. And awesome. Next week, on a Saturday, we're going to be planting that flagpole in that park in his honor. And I think it's like 30 to 40 feet tall, and it's going to be a beautiful day. They're going to have an honor guard there. It's going to be great. So you guys will be there for sure. I hope.
God willing. I got a plan too, Tony.
Yeah.
That's the first step.
Yeah.
But if I know this man, I know his heart, I say, you know what our next goal is?
Yeah.
To plant a cross.
Oh, that would be amazing. He would love that more.
Yeah. That's probably what really his heart's desire.
He would love that even more.
Yeah. Is he going to be able to join us for that?
He's hoping to, yeah.
Okay.
Speaking of real quick, one last one. We had a guy on, Jay Sixer, friend of a friend of Basilico's, a friend of ours.
Mm-hmm.
We had John Strand, and we kind of felt like maybe John Strand could have gone a little harder, kind of a little softer than we would like. But he's one of us. He stood up.
Yeah.
I gotta say, John Strand presented me this idea, and shout out to John Strand about it. He wants a J6 memorial in DC.
Mm-hmm.
Now talk about planting a flag. Talk about like making a statement. How about we have a J6 memorial with names on it and or whatever, no names, just commemorate everybody that was there to fight and stand for their country.
Yep.
How about that? How about we push for that?
I like that a lot, but I think it should. For me, it should commemorate the J6ers that didn't take deals.
Yeah.
Because those are the ones that really made the sacrifice.
But everybody that withstood tyrannical government, I don't know. I mean, I didn't take a deal.
I understand.
I didn't take a deal.
I understand.
But I don't like that there are people that take a deal.
Just like I talk about veterans, and the veterans say it among themselves. There's a difference between combat veterans and veterans.
Then we can say that among
There's a difference.
ourselves.
Yeah.
We can say among ourselves, there's a difference between J6ers that took a deal and ones that didn't.
Yeah.
We can say that among ourselves too. But I don't want to put some dispersions. We're all J6ers.
Yeah, but how many of those guys? But how many are you willing to put somebody on a wall that you're not even sure of that may have cut a deal with the enemy? Maybe they're working for the enemy now. You
Maybe
don't
there
know.
doesn't have to be names
Why
on
should
it.
they have on
Maybe
that
it doesn't
fucking
have to
wall?
have names.
No, some people's names should be on. Your name should be on there.
Yeah.
But
John
I'm
Strand's name should be on
I'm
there.
willing
actually.
to not have my name on it if it means that, because it's bigger. There were 1 million people there, Tony.
Yeah, I know.
And that's significant.
Yeah.
And I don't want to whittle it down to, 1,000 or 700 people. I don't want to whittle it down. If there were 1 million people there, I want.
Well, you were there. You can speak on this.
I
better
want
than
to. I
can.
want to commemorate 1 million people
I'll,
because that's power.
yeah.
1 million people were there.
You were at J6. You have an ankle monitor still wrapped around your ankle. So I'll
This
follow,
is a shackle.
I will follow I will advise, but I will follow your lead on this.
I think it's for the best, for the greater good, for the good of the country. 1 million people showed up, and that's huge. That's powerful,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. So guys,
Well,
Go ahead.
one more thing.
Yeah,
Are we
yeah.
done or what?
no, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, so I was down at the restaurant today,
Mhm.
and I have to say, I had a really, really nice meal. I want to let people know.
Yeah.
I had my chicken parm.
Chicken parm with pink sauce or red sauce?
I had the red sauce today,
With
but the
the,
pink is good too. I have both.
Penne pasta?
I had the penne pasta.
Oh, my
It was
God.
very, very good.
Big fat chicken
really,
breast,
really
right?
good. Done
Isn't
perfectly.
it amazing, man?
Nice
People,
salad. I just want to let people know there's some good food in
yeah,
that
yeah.
place.
Everything comes with a mixed screen Italian style
So
salad, fresh. Everything's so fresh.
Yeah.
And that warm bread
That was amazing.
comes with all the entrees. But yeah, a lot of people when they come in and they try the pink sauce for the first time with chicken parm, it's fucking out of this world.
Yeah, pink sauce is really good.
Oh my god!
I mix it up a little bit, so I don't want to eat the same
and
thing.
you
every
can
time.
eat, man. This guy, this guy puts it away.
I'm
He
trying
does.
to. I'm trying to like cut back on eating a little bit.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you before we leave. Did you guys have a good Thanksgiving?
Oh yeah.
You know why
saw
he
your
eats?
family.
You know why he eats,
Well,
Tony?
What?
Because he works harder than you and me put together.
Yeah, he does
No,
manual
that's not
shit.
true.
Like he had me house sitting in Newport Beach, and he's like cleaning the pool with this like filter thing that's churning the water, and he goes up to it. Like I'd be sitting there lugging it. He walks and he just pulls it up.
Well, he's strong.
Day in, day out, working every day.
Strong, man.
It's
Like-
good for you.
Strong guy. So, what'd you do?
So, well, I had Thanksgiving with my son, and then I saw my sister and everything, but I just want to let people know Thanksgiving is kind of a special holiday for the Wooding family because we go right back to the Mayflower.
I know, it's so
we're
amazing.
related to 4 pilgrims who came over on the Mayflower
That's
back in
insane,
1620.
That is fucking
Yeah,
incredible.
I'm 12th generation. My dad's 11.
Fuck.
My kids are 13.
It's mind blowing.
Crazy, isn't it?
It's mind blowing.
Yeah.
And do you remember the names of the 4? Like,
It's
remember
the, it's let's see.
Were they men, women, or both?
Well, it's a family.
Oh, family. Yeah.
Allerton, I believe, is the name.
Allerton, so it's probably like a couple of males and a couple of females.
Well, it was
So you-
Alton, his wife, and kids.
So you're talking about me being a direct descendant.
Direct descendants of Mayflower.
Blood.
Pilgrims. They're
DNA,
pilgrims,
everything.
Pilgrims from, they're English. They left England because they're being persecuted by King James I. He had no tolerance. King James was the head of the
Church of England.
Church of England, whatever. He had no tolerance for anything else. This group of separatists, they call themselves, they went to Holland and they were there for a long time. Then there was a group of about 40 or 45 of them, I think, that decided that they wanted to come to the New World. They're intended to get to Jamestown, which was still under English control, but
But lax as far as the rules.
could probably get away a little more. They get on this ship
Wait,
in
there were-
the summer.
So there were 42
There's
pilgrims
Yeah. There's
And
102
42
passengers total.
on a boat that's only about 50 feet.
It was about
long.
100 foot long ship. If you're ever in Massachusetts,
Are you
go to
sure it's
Pil-
100?
Yeah.
Your boat's 50 feet.
Yeah, it's twice.
We're going to
the
cut
size
that part out, but I don't want to talk about the boat.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Anyway, so it's a 100-foot boat. You can go to Plymouth, Massachusetts. There's a replica of the boat there. You can see it's tiny,
Yeah.
small. I mean, the ship was not meant. It was meant to be more of a coastal ship and not an ocean-going ship.
Yeah.
And they left in August, and they ended up in. They were blown off course. They ended up on Cape Cod at
So
Provincetown.
the 42, who were the others? The 42.
So there were some other people that were there was the
Supplies.
crew,
Uh-huh.
and then there were others that just were there. They just wanted to get away. They wanted to come to the New World. They wanted to come to Jamestown.
So you're
Okay.
descended from boat people.
That's exactly right.
Best
Both
of.
people.
The real
Okay,
ones.
so what happened next? Go ahead.
So they ended up on Cape Cod,
Yeah.
Provincetown. I don't know if you ever look at a map of Cape Cod or of Massachusetts, the Cape is out. It looks like my brother always made this joke. It looks like it's Ferry's boot, and Provincetown is the bell on the end of the boot. So it's right at the end of the little spit there. They ended up there, and there was nothing there. It's November, winter.
Oh my
There's
God.
nothing there, no hotels, nothing, and they ended up they were there for a little while, but they ended up in Plymouth. So they came through into the harbor and into Plymouth was more habitable area, and half the people on that ship died the first winter, the first year. So,
And that's where
So-
they get the name Providence, like that area.
Provincetown.
Because when you think about it, these people were just
yeah.
relying on the providence of God.
yeah,
And they just threw
That's
caution
all
to
they
the
could rely
wind.
on.
They threw caution to the wind and they set sail.
And imagine showing up on a land, on land. They show up, they arrive, they get off the fucking boat,
there's nothing there.
and there's nothing but wilderness.
It's all wilderness.
Nothing.
Yeah.
No structures. Nothing. Okay, so go ahead.
So they did. There were when they got to they did find the Indians were there and they were able to find some resources to live on that were things that the Indians stored in the wintertime for the spring. They ended up in Plymouth, which is on the mainland of Massachusetts, and they did meet Indians, and there were Indians that helped them and all. But the original Thanksgiving celebration was it wasn't this thing, the Indian they're thanking the Indians for helping them. It was they were thanking God that they made it to this place, they survived, and they were at some point within a year or two were thriving because they started out. First of all, they gave us the Mayflower Compact, which was the first. I think it's the first example of self-governance. Okay, when they get to Massachusetts was not at that time was not under the British control, so there was no government.
There's no government. Zero.
So they created their
God.
own government, the
Amazing.
Mayflower Compact. They said we had to, so they did that, and they started out as it was all common. Everybody was going to share equally in the resources. So whatever nobody owned a house, everybody owned a house. Whatever corn was planted, it was
communism.
everybody's. It was a
They
common.
tried
Yes,
it.
Yeah, and it was a complete failure.
Mhm.
So within a very short period of time, they went to. What they figured out was that this socialism system didn't work. So they went to a capitalism system. Everybody was allowed a plot of land, and they could do whatever they wanted to do, and they could keep whatever they raised. And if they wanted to trade, and
Your responsibility.
Exactly.
Your responsibility rests in your abilities.
right. Once they, yes, exactly.
Your hard work will be rewarded, or if you're lazy, you're not
Yeah.
getting shit.
Yeah.
Good.
And once they adopted that system, the colony thrived, and the word got back to England and
The
that
old
started,
world, all over Europe.
Yeah, it started what they called a period of time. I think it was probably like 4 or 5 or 6 years later. This whole this Puritan migration. I forget what they called it.
The Great
exactly.
Migration. I think
Yeah,
they
Great
called it.
Puritan migration. So people were saying, "Hey, you know,
We want to try this.
Exactly.
This sounds pretty cool, right?
Well, I got something to add because I just heard this a few days ago talking about the first Thanksgiving. It was a collaboration with the Indians. It wasn't the Indians, bailed them out or saved them.
No.
They were collaborating. And what I just learned was that the Indians that they had the first Thanksgiving with were seeking allies because they were actually fighting with another Indian tribe
exactly
that had been oppressing them. And so the original colonists were actually in allegiance with the Indians to fight off this other tribe. And ultimately down the road, the tribe that worked with the colonists, they weren't like taken out by, for you fucking woke fucktards, they weren't taken out by the Europeans. No, it was another Indian tribe that killed them. The original Indians that were working with Europeans, because there was a lot of tribal warfare. And there were a lot of just...
The Indians were savages to themselves. The things that they did to their own people.
Scalpings.
Exactly.
They tried to float this idea years ago that scalpings didn't exist in Americas until the Europeans came and brought it. Yeah. But then I found an article where they found like a scalped body that happened in like 1300 or something. So well before Columbus, right? Yeah. And so like I put to rest that guy's narrative online because they always try to project on us.
Yeah.
Well, damn, though, you gotta be proud, man.
Well, it's I didn't really know much about it. My dad, actually my brother-in-law, who it's kind of a hobby of his to do all this genealogy. He's the one that just went through the records and found all this. Maybe 5 or 6 years ago.
I wonder if they'd be upset if your ancestors would be upset that you're now half Italian. That your dad married.
Why would they
Italian
be upset?
woman.
Joyce is.
Well, they were the wasps. They were wasps of their time.
Think about it. I got 2 really good heritages. So I got this whole America, Mayflower Compact, the first time in that history, I guess, in the last 400, 500, 600 years, where self-governance, and that leads to the Constitution, greatest nation ever.
Amazing.
But then I'm also related in a way to the great Roman Empire.
Exactly. I mean, you're Italian too. That's fucking amazing.
Well, you know what, Tony?
My father came here. Your family came here on the Mayflower. My family came here on a boat called the Cristoforo Colombo.
Yeah. I found in my dad's closet a T-shirt. My wife said that's obnoxious, but it says America. We discovered it. We named it. And we built it.
Amen.
That's perfect.
And that's a fucking truth.
Right?
Yeah.
It's called truth. America after America Vespucci, right?
Yeah.
And Columbus discovered it,
Columbus discovered it. And we definitely built it.
We built a lot.
I don't want to hear anybody else say they built this country. Italians built this country.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Anyway.
That
was good, man.
So Thanksgiving was good. Oh, I want to tell you too.
Yeah.
For all the people that like food. I talked to my son about what should I bring. He said bring dessert, so I went to Basilico's and I got a tray of tiramisu.
Homemade tiramisu. Oh my God!
It was a freaking big hit. Everyone loved it.
Yeah. Kim, what did you do? Thanksgiving.
I wanted to cook a turkey, and so I went and visited my kids, and had like a little Thanksgiving, like maybe 7 people. I cooked. We ate it. We played some board games.
Oh, that's awesome.
I got to spend time with my kids. I like spending time with them.
I had my very first Thanksgiving with my son.
Beautiful.
6.5 months old, and
you sent the picture with the turkey leg and his eyes are all big.
Was bigger than
sitting. You see that in the high chair?
Yeah.
And he's got the tray table in front of him. He's got a gigantic turkey leg in there. His eyes he's just thinking to himself, God, I can't wait till I have teeth.
Man.
So I can tear into that fucking thing. Yeah.
Is that amazing though? Yeah.
Tommy, what'd you do?
I cooked the turkey, double smoked the ham, and just hung out with family.
Beautiful.
That's
man.
awesome.
Beautiful. We couldn't do this without Tommy, right?
That's right.
We all love Tommy.
Tommy's the man.
Anyway, well, that was good, guys. Good to see you again.
Another
It
good-
seemed like it's only been a week break that we took, but it seems like a month.
Thanksgiving was the last time we
It's
Yeah,
Thursday.
before,
normal
but
recording day.
we're gonna figure out what the rest of the holiday schedule is gonna be, but looking forward to the next one. And for those out there watching, never forget, you're Americans, act like it, and see you next time.
God willing.
Amen.